Small apartments have a big problem. There's never enough space. Your living room feels cluttered, your kitchen feels cramped, and every piece of furniture seems to take up more room than it should. But the good news is that you don't actually need a bigger home. You just need smarter furniture. And today I'm going to show you some of the smartest space-saving furniture designs that can make a small home feel much bigger. We're going to look at seating, tables, beds, and storage. So let's start with one of the easiest upgrades you can make in a small space. One of the biggest space killers in small homes is traditional dining chairs. You know, the ones a lot of us grew up with. Big wooden chairs that were somehow uncomfortable and ugly at the same time. And they just sat there taking up space even when nobody was using them. Which is why a much better option is seating that can disappear when you don't need it, kind of like stackable stools. Now, stools don't always get a lot of love, mostly because they don't look as fancy as regular dining chairs. But when it comes to saving space, they're honestly one of the smartest seating options you can buy. And the reason is simple: they stack. So instead of 6 chairs taking up space all the time, you can stack them into one small footprint and tuck them into a corner when you're not using them. Then when guests come over, you can just pull them apart and suddenly you've got seating for everyone. Now, some people even use stacked stools as a little side table or plant stand, which makes them pretty versatile in small apartments. And one example I like is the all-modern Navid stackable accent stool. It has a clean, modern design with bent wood legs and a round upholstered seat, so it looks like a stylish accent piece rather than just a basic stool. If you've ever been somewhere that needed a lot of extra seating, you've probably seen these everywhere. And the big reason they're so common is simple: they fold almost completely flat. Most folding chairs collapse down to just a couple of inches thick, which means you can store several of them in places where normal chairs would never fit. Now, there's 2 common types you'll usually see. The first one is the classic metal folding chair. And if you've watched WWE, you've definitely seen these before. And they're usually used for a completely different purpose there. But these chairs are actually pretty durable, and most of them can support about 1.5 Americans or 300 pounds. Now, the second option is wooden folding chairs with padded seats, which tend to feel and look a little bit nicer and more comfortable. But if you want seating that's just more hidden, then the next one on this list is pretty clever. At first glance, these just look like normal coffee tables. But underneath the table, you'll find several stools or ottomans that slide out whenever you need them. So when you have guests, you can pull them out and instantly create some extra seating in your living room. Now, most of these tables include 2 to 4 hidden seats, and some of the ottomans even have storage inside them, so you're basically getting 3 pieces of furniture in one: a coffee table, extra seating, and hidden storage. Now, one example I like is the Latitude Run coffee table, which comes with 4 upholstered ottomans that tuck neatly underneath the table when they're not being used. Now, seating isn't the only thing that takes up space in a small home, because the next thing on this list is even worse. A regular dining table or desk usually just sits there all day, taking up floor space whether you're using it or not. That's why a lot of modern small homes are switching to tables that can fold, expand, or just disappear when they're not needed. And one of the best examples of this is a gate leg table. These types of tables are different than the ones your parents had in your dining room. And the name gate leg literally comes from how they work. At first glance, it looks very narrow, kind of like a console table. But when you lift both sides up, it reveals a large surface. And the legs that support those parts swing open like a gate. One of the most well-known versions of this is the Ikea Norden, which has a simple Scandinavian design and even includes drawers in the center for some extra storage. And other versions like this one comes with casters at the bottom so it can be moved easier, and it also comes with folding chairs, which is exactly what we want to save space. You've probably seen these since they're pretty popular, and just like the last one, this one also gets its name from the fact that you literally extend the table out to reveal more space. They come in a few options, and a well-known one would be the butterfly leaf. And you can tell you have this when the center part has a hinged mechanism. So when you pull the ends apart, the center part folds out and appears to have wings. Then there's the center leaf. These have no complicated mechanism. You just pull both ends of the table and it reveals a gap. And this is where you place the panel, also known as a leaf, to extend the table. Round ones are pretty common, like this one from Wessian, which becomes oval with the extendable part. Plus, you get some nice storage at the bottom. But if you're not a fan of curves, they also come in square to rectangle ones. End leaves are another type. These are similar, except that the panels are added to the ends of the table, like this one from Wade Logan. But if your goal is to save as much space as possible, this next table might surprise you. These might be the ultimate space savers, because when you need a table, you just pull it down. When you need space, you fold it back against the wall. And because of how efficient these are, they're very popular in tiny homes. And a good example is the Norberg from Ikea. You get shelves to store your things, and when you need space, just lift the flap and you have a table. But if you're someone handy, this is also one of the easier furniture ideas to DIY. All you really need is a tabletop, some wall-mounted brackets, and a sturdy installation. These look like normal coffee tables, but they hide a surprise. The top can lift up and slide towards you. When that happens, it becomes a small desk that's much easier to use while you're sitting on the couch. And a lot of people use these for things like eating, working, or just setting something down without leaning forward. And when you lift the top, you'll usually find hidden storage underneath. So now you can store the stuff you usually lose, like the remote, books, or chargers. Square styles like this one from Roland Star work really well in small living rooms, but if you prefer something round, there's other options like this one from Latitude Run that lift up to desk height. Now, fixing your seating, fixing your tables can free up a lot of space, but there's one piece of furniture that takes up much more space than almost everything else: your bed. Beds are usually the largest thing in a bedroom, and the funny part is that they just sit there most of the day doing absolutely nothing. This is why a lot of small homes use beds that can fold, hide away, or just turn into something else during the day. I remember sleeping on these as a kid, and honestly, they weren't very comfortable. The mattress was thin, and I could feel the metal bars through it. But modern sofa beds have gotten a lot better. Many of them use thicker mattresses or foam cushions that make them much more comfortable. And with the rise of small living, these are showing up in a lot of small apartments and studios. Instead of having a couch and a bed take up a bunch of space, you get both in one piece of furniture. And there's a bunch of different types out there, from those with hidden mattresses that we all know, to some simple ones like a futon. And if you want to see how they compare, make sure to check out this video where I break down the 10 best sofa beds. But if you want something simple, then this is a good example. There's no complicated pull-out frame. You just remove the back cushions and connect the poof to create a bed. During the day, this bed stays tucked away so you can use the room for something else. And at night, you just pull it down and you have a full bed ready to go. And there's a few different styles you'll see. The first one is the vertical Murphy bed, where the mattress folds up and down against the wall. Then there's the horizontal version where the bed folds sideways instead, and these are usually used in rooms with lower ceilings. And finally, cabinet Murphy beds, which hide the bed inside furniture that looks like a dresser or a storage cabinet. And when the bed is closed, you wouldn't even know it's there. And a good example of this would be from Viv and Ray. But even if you fix your seating, tables, and bed, there's still one problem that can make a small home feel cramped: clutter. Shoes on the floor, random stuff on tables, and nowhere to put everyday things. That's why smart storage is just as important as space-saving furniture. The biggest clutter problems in small homes is shoes. They end up by the door, under tables, or piled up on the floor. That's where a vertical shoe cabinet can really help. Instead of sticking out like a normal shoe rack, these cabinets are very slim and use vertical space on the wall. When you open them, the front panels tilt out to reveal hidden compartments for your shoes. Each section can hold several pairs while keeping everything neatly out of sight. So from the outside, it just looks like a simple cabinet instead of a pile of shoes. And the top can even work as a small surface for things like your keys, wallet, or phone. A good example of this is the Stell, which has 4 compartments and a very slim design. But if you want even more space, then this one from Bornoon is a good option. You've probably seen these in bathrooms before. From the outside, it just looks like a normal mirror on the wall. But when you open it, there's small shelves inside where you can store things like toothpaste, medicine, or some skincare products. And this helps keep your counter clean and gives those items a place to hide. So instead of taking up extra space, the mirror also becomes storage. And a good example is the Triation, which has 2 doors and built-in lighting. But if you want something that blends in more, there's other options like this one from Tiote. And those are some of the smartest space-saving furniture ideas for small homes and apartments. But this list is just the start. So if you want to see more videos like this, then you might like this one next. I've also linked all the furniture I mentioned in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.